but yesterday I did something dumb. Just let it rip and we'll see what happens. We have light again, yay. So if you guys followed along with Mosaic Madness, and I'll put the playlist here, but we built some crazy cool art pieces in the past couple weeks, but we do still need more to fill out our booth for this show. So that is what we are doing in the next week. I honestly just want to give myself a challenge of like, how much can I create in this next week that is art. Now, granted, I do have some backers already started, so that's going to give me a leg up. But I'm itching to create another big piece, and I honestly don't even know what that's going to be yet, but I want to take you guys along with the journey. So if you're new here, hey, I am Emily. I am a full-time woodworker and artist, and if you're not new, so glad to see you in the shop again. Let's get to it. Let's get some building, and I'll take you guys along with me. So one thing I've talked about a couple times, and if you've seen me at any show, you'll know that I have a problem with inventory, and honestly, I just knew I needed to create a big piece to help fill my booth. I have been loving creating bigger pieces, but honestly, it is kind of a mental battle because you make these large, expensive pieces, and honestly, I do get nervous, like if and when they are going to sell, but I have showed time and time again that these pieces can sell if I do good work. So I'm just kind of following my gut here with this one and cutting down the backer to get everything squared up and ready to create. Now, this is the first time I'm going to be doing this, but I created a doodle grid on this backer since it is such a large piece and I will be painting part of it. The doodle grid is just going to help me align the pieces and the painting to where my vision is, and I'll explain it a little bit more in this video. Alright, so back down in the shop. So I just worked on my computer to get a scroll saw template cut out on the laser. This is something I haven't tried yet, but I want to create some like intarsia petals. So let me show you on the computer real quick what I just did, and then we'll hop to the laser to test it out. Alright, so just showing you a little bit of what's on my light burn. So basically right now I have the templates drawn out and color coded and numbered so that I know what wood I'm using and what petal is going to go where. And I'm honestly just going to try and cut this out of regular printer paper. So we'll send this to the laser and just see how it works. It's a test, so wish me luck. So like I said, this is definitely just a test, but I'm going to be close by the laser just in case this is too hot for a simple piece of paper. I know I've cut paper on the laser before, but I have no clue about the settings. So let's just let it rip and we'll see what happens. Alright, this is definitely working, and my fear is kind of coming true where the pieces are blowing because they're getting cut. As you can see there, they're lifting, which is what I didn't want to happen. So maybe I just need to take the air off of it. Well, do we have an update? So as the weekend came, it's Easter weekend, we have not had power or electricity since Saturday at like 9 p.m. So we spent all of Easter figuring out what we were going to do with no electricity. We ended up getting sheets for lunch, which if you don't know, if you don't live around here, that's basically like a convenience store. And now the only thing that I can do on Monday to work towards this art show is to paint. Luckily, my craft room has 2 windows, so it's fairly good lighting in here. I tried to do it outside and it was too bright. It's beautiful outside right now. But I think I definitely need to do it in here to see the colors. But wow, what a turn. And I'm just praying that it comes back at some point today so I actually have enough time to finish this piece if we get it in a good spot. But right now, I'm just kind of going with the flow, and what I'll have for the show is what I'll have. And yeah, it's kind of disappointing, but again, it's a freak accident. We had a crazy windstorm come through and took down the power line literally directly by our house, and it's laying on our road, still laying on our road, and it's only affecting like the 7 people on my road, so we're probably going to be one of the last people to get fixed. This morning, luckily, we went to my boyfriend's mom's house who has power back now. We got to shower and we got to eat some breakfast, but it's been a struggle for sure. It's been an interesting weekend, so I'm just excited to jump into painting. I have no excuse to not get to this painting now because I literally can't do anything else. And I'm pretty sure I talked through this doodle grid before, but basically what I'm doing is I have my picture of my grid here lined up with how I want it on the flowers I am painting, and basically I'll turn down the opacity so I can see the flowers that I'm painting along with the doodle grid, and I can kind of lay out the petals that way for composition. This is the first time I'm trying this method, so I'm hoping that it works out well, but we shall see. We shall see. This is how a lot of muralists or like big painters lay out compositions if they're like pre-planning it. So I'm going to try it out. I think it's going to help me because I do struggle with composition a lot, going from picture to painting. So time to get to work. So the way I had my doodle grid and flower composition laid out, I had the pieces that I was planning on making 3D already outlined in red. So I really was painting the flowers that would go around the scroll saw piece, whether it was the hardwood that you'll see here a little bit later or some MDF painted flowers. So this really is going to be a true mix of painting and scroll saw work. Guess what? We have light again. Yay. So I just finished my morning workout and we needed to get down to the shop now because I can officially get on my scroll saw and finish this piece. Don't know if I showed the finished artwork yesterday, but I'm feeling really good about it. I love the shadow kind of like ombre effect to the outsides, and where all these holes are actually going to be 3D flowers. So let's not waste any time and get down to the shop because we have a long couple days ahead of us to get ready for this show now. After falling in love with the wood combo in the Amethyst Equinox from Mosaic Madness, I knew I had to pull out the cedar and purple heart again. I just have been loving purple. I don't know what it is, but the colors have been really vibing with what I want to make so far. So here I am placing some scroll saw templates onto the wood, and honestly, the way I drew this is the way I had to do it. Is it the fastest way? No, but I will explain a little bit later why I chose to do this, but really I wanted the grain to follow the petals. And so if I were to just laser a template onto the wood, it wouldn't exactly match the grain. The way I drew it, I couldn't really separate the petals. So that was my bad, but I really wasn't going to go redraw it just when I could simply put the template onto the wood. So that's what I decided to do. You know, you win some, you lose some, you save time one way or another. It is what it is. But jumping onto the scroll saw, so like I said, this would be a mix of cedar and purple heart pieces. So yeah, we have some anemones that we're going to paint. We have some wood flowers we're going to sculpt, and it's going to be a cool outcome. I'll show you the piece at the very end of this video. shot of showing what I mean by having the grain match. So all the grain is pointing towards the center of the flowers, which is exactly what I wanted. Now we have to go in and shape everything. You guys know the drill. I am currently using the Kutzall bits. I will have it linked in my Amazon storefront if you guys want to try it out, but been really loving these bits. I haven't had an issue with them so far, and they just make everything really smooth. Honestly, from some other bits I've tried, this leaves my roughed shaping not so rough, so the shaping isn't as hard. But yeah, you guys know the drill. We got a lot of shaping, a lot of sanding in these upcoming pieces. And honestly, I just have to get the backers in a good spot. So since I'm working on this big piece, I also am trying to get some small pieces done for a quick little Mother's Day collection, which was a big success. You guys will see some of the finished pieces again at the end of this video, but I sold out of most of them at the launch, which is incredible and honestly much better of a launch than I could have even expected. These backers are pretty simple for this collection because they are art minis and the focus is going to be the flowers and the shaping. I didn't feel like the backers really needed a super intricate design, but I will say that they are all beautiful. I wanted to make sure I used hardwoods for most of them, and the grain on some of these walnut ones are literally gorgeous. So you guys will see them here a little bit later, oiled up and finished. But I am so excited that these minis went well, which means I can start making more things like this. I wasn't really sure how a mini, more expensive art piece would go because I'm so used to making just regular mini home decor signs. But since it was a hit, you guys will definitely see more of these throughout this summer for sure. The summer is all about creating art. And yeah, we're just going to document the process as we do it. Okay, here's a little update on what backers we have. So I had these two already to go. So this needs like redusted off. We have a white oak, kind of like oval, mini oval, walnut diamond, which I cut the MDF pieces for already. This is just a rustic gray backer. I had some small pieces left of from a Mosaic Madness piece, so I used that. Another walnut, just straight backer. These backers are just simple because they're going to get covered anyway and they're small pieces, so we're keeping it simple here. And then we're going to have probably like 3 to 5 painted backers. So how many is that? 1, 2, 3. Yeah, so like 10 to 15 maybe, depending on what else I can get done. So I think this is a good start though. We'll see where we end up, but these are all glued and attached, so feeling good for backers. Now we just need to get all the pieces ready. I know I told you we have very limited time because tomorrow's basically going to be a wash, but yesterday I did something dumb. Well, it wasn't dumb. I was trying to be active. It was beautiful outside, 75, almost 80 degrees maybe. I went for a nice run. Your girl probably wasn't hydrated or fueled enough, and I started getting symptoms of like dehydration where I just felt super nauseous and super sick. So honestly, the second half of the day, I didn't work. After my workout, I just felt like absolute garbage and didn't end up working again. I worked a couple hours at night until like 8 o'clock once I had some food in my stomach, had some more water in my system, drank some Element electrolytes, but I kind of messed up my schedule. So today is like super crunch time. Whatever we don't get painted today cannot be part of the launch. That's going to be the rule I'm rolling with because tomorrow, I have no clue how much time I'm going to get done. And if I actually want to launch this on Saturday, they need to be done by Saturday, obviously. Right now, I have one thing shaped and primed, almost have 2 other ones shaped. So I don't feel like we're sitting in a great spot, to be honest. I ultimately would love to get like 10 pieces. I asked my boyfriend what he thought was realistic. He said 5 to 10. I would love to get 10. So we're just gonna keep chugging along today and see how much we can get done. It's currently a little after 9:30. I've been down here probably since 9 o'clock shaping, so we have the whole day. We can do it. We just need to focus.
Baby, would you like that?
I know for this piece I do want to do a shaped poppy because I have some really cool bloodwood that I want to create into a red flower. So that's already going to be one shape piece that we haven't even started yet. For this one I was also going to do a shaped piece because it's such a pretty backer. But I wonder if I just keep it simple with maybe like a cut wood flower of some type versus a full like shaped piece. It would still look really cool because I just really love the backer of this. So I'm gonna look at what designs I have and something maybe I can turn into more of like an outline versus like a full shaped flower. And then, so I have both of these really cool pieces. This was a piece I had started kind of in Mosaic Madness and it didn't really work out how I wanted it to, so I created this like backer frame situation. So again, I was planning on putting something shaped here. I honestly still might, just because the shape of this is so unique. I feel like it almost needs a piece to pop on this. But for this, which is going to be cut down into like this oval, I keep calling it like the pill shape because it's like a cylinder but like not. I might do like some type of painting or something. I can paint a lot faster than I can these like shaped pieces, and just because I'm running up on time, I really would like to implement that a little bit more. And there's a few ideas I have for like a wood burn painting piece. So we'll cut this down and take it upstairs to be painted, and that will be just something completely different. So yeah, kind of winging it by the seat of my pants, to be honest. But what's new here? I am really excited about this though. Something, you guys know I love a good gold frame, so we gotta find something good to put in here. I think like a nice colored flower would look so pretty in this, just like a beautiful stem of something colored. So maybe I'll just Google some like springish flowers or see what I have already kind of drawn that I could turn into. will say one nice thing about all these small pieces is I really wanted to utilize my laser as much as I could to help me cut the pieces and get them out a little bit faster. And since they were smaller pieces, I was okay with using some thinner material. Now I am trying the intarsia technique again for this bloodwood, and as you will see, I got some crazy hate comments on Facebook for using this technique, but let me just explain why I did this. So basically, again, I drew the file in a way where I couldn't separate the petals. So in order to get the grain to go towards the center of the flower, I had to cut each piece separately, which meant it was just easiest to do it on paper instead of redrawing the file. And this is bloodwood. So first time working with it, but if you look at the wood hardness scale, this is an extremely hard wood, and honestly I would have had to put the laser power up very high. It would have charred the edges, and I would have spent just as much time honestly sanding and getting the burnt edges off, because it's not something that I wanted for this piece. So I'm okay with doing this way, and I think that if you're gonna leave hate comments, 1, you probably aren't making or selling wood art. 2, there's no wrong way to do this. And I always say woodworking is basically problem solving. And this is how I solved this problem for this specific piece. If they wouldn't have done it that way, that's fine. But I just want to encourage you to keep playing with methods. Everyone's method is going to be different for doing something, and just because I'm showing you a certain way doesn't mean it's the only way. And I think that is so important. You can tell I'm very fired up about these comments because they did piss me off, to be honest. But nevertheless, we're here, we're surviving, and we made some cool ass art. So take that, people. As you know, as I get closer to a show, my filming ends up becoming a little less, but after I got all the pieces painted and primed, it was basically time to attach and frame all the pieces. And like I said earlier, the launch went really well. I did end up putting 6 new pieces on the website, and 3 of those sold immediately on the website during the launch, and then the poppy actually sold at the show I was prepping for. So selling 4 of the 6 pieces right away was really, really great.